Everybody, welcome once again to Moscow, the penultimate day of the European Weightlifting Championships. 4 titles to be decided, 2 this evening, and the first one that we're going to focus on is our review of the men's 109 kilo category. This is the start list for you. The athletes, including the defending champion Simon Martirosyan of Armenia, who won the title 2 years ago. But we pick up the action with the host nation, Russia, and Timur Naniyev going for 180 kilos. Incidentally, the best man in the B group, Sargis Martirosyan of Austria, who lifted 175 kilos in the B group. He, the bronze medalist of 3 years ago in Bucharest. But Naniyev, 180, first attempt. A good start. I'm David Goldstrom, together with Mikhaila Ruiz, and a Russian getting a first lift in, Mikhaila.
Timur Naniyev, 180, first attempt, no mistaking on his first lift, so he'll be happy. Maintains really good position off the floor, a little bit short on the extension. The bar was a little bit away from him, hence the step forwards, but he's okay.
And that lift surpasses his teammate Kas Baleyev of Russia, who has finished on 175, and also Arkadiusz Mikulska, one of the most experienced men in today's competition, also not managing to get up to 180 kilos. Mikulska, bronze medalist 3 years ago in the World Championships. And that's the second attempt for Marcos Ruiz. He succeeded at 175, as you can see on the graphic. Ruiz, runner-up in the under-23 European Championships when those were last staged.
Bit of an early arm bend as he explodes through the second phase of a lift. Really need to keep the arms long and loose, let the legs do all the work.
Marcos Ruiz готовится.
Well, here's a man who's got bags of experience. He won the European title at 105 kilos, which was the weight in those days in 2016, the Olympic year, representing Latvia, Arturs Plesnik. 170, 175, third attempt. Well, the failures, Mikhail, are beginning to creep in, and Naniyev with the 180 at the moment in command.
Yeah, that's right. Success is necessary to be going into the lead from now on. So it's the lifter that gets to these weights first. So even if Plesnik had achieved this weight, he would not have gone into the lead because he would have been the second lifter to do so.
Dimitri Schumach готовится к следующему весу.
Marcos Ruiz of Spain, third attempt, 180. Let's see if he can put that previous failure behind him.
Not to beat. He actually lifted 180 in the European Championships 2 years ago when he finished in 10th place, but not today. Disappointing.
Sorry, David, that was a good lift there.
It was indeed. I beg your pardon.
What were you watching?
Well,
So he's nailed that on a third, so aggressive.
Christo Kristoff, representing Bulgaria, European junior champion 2 years ago. As you said, really aggressive, explosive, and announces himself in no uncertain terms.
He's only, is he still a junior or is he just out of junior ranks? Year of
No,
birth
he's
is,
19.
Is 01.
No, he's 19. He's 19.
Wow.
So, Schumach. Well, second attempt and a failure. Yeah, I mean, the thing that, of course, signposted for me this man's potential is he was really convincing 2 years ago, and he's put in a pretty heavy clean and jerk start, so he'd be right up there. But if he doesn't get the next lift, it'll be for nothing.
And just remember, David, it's not the weights that are posted necessarily that's important, it's the weights you finish on. A lifter that gets 3 out of 3, starts lighter and builds gradually, often finds himself in medal contention. A lifter sometimes that's out and out favourite, starts too heavy, finds himself in a spot of bother. So Dimitri Schumach, he has really got to get his act together here. Even that other lift he just missed, there were still soft arms when he caught it, so he needs to be careful.
Experience, 30 years of age. Also won the European title back in 2017 at 94 kilo category. So he's been moving up, and now he's arrived at 109 kilos. Of course, what he achieved in 2019 in the 102 kilo category was the beginning of some points towards his attempt to qualify for the Olympic Games, but 109 kilos, this is an Olympic category. Right, big pressure on now, Michaela. He's got to make this.
You'd be
Save
okay, but still soft in the arms, though. You'll be all right.
Yeah, 181 and Schumach. But as you rightly said, the result of those first 2 failures means that he now runs the risk of being some kilos behind. Remember, the defending champion Simon Martirosyan of Armenia hasn't started yet. He's posted 190 as his opening attempt, and for all the big advantage that Schumach might have in the clean and jerk, a modest 181 in the snatch may cost him dearly by the time we get to the end of this competition. But this is Timur Naniyev for Russia. 180, now up to 184 for the second attempt. Gets the buzzer, puts it down, collects the 184. And he's a man who, well, the record book suggests that he could go to something like 189, 190. But I wonder if he can do that on this day.
I'm not sure. There's not many more kilos there. He was just about sneaking underneath that bar. A more sensible call might just be a couple of kilos. He has to fight hard there before standing. He did well to...
Christo Kristoff of Bulgaria, pretty impressive in the first attempt. He's alive in the competition. Naniyev, he's got 184, and now looking for the lead with 186. "19 years of age, European junior champion, as I mentioned 2 seasons ago. He's been a youth world and European champion, also at 94 kilos. So this is a young man who's already tried his hand at the senior championships 2 years ago. Well, if the first one was satisfying, how about that?
Very, very good. Very impressed by this young man. He really comes out with purpose. Still focused. He's got 1 attempt remaining and he's properly fired up for it. Maintains a good position. Bit of a whip backwards with his shoulders. And as he recovers, he drops the chest a little, putting the shoulders under strain. I'd encourage anybody watching this to try and maintain a nice straight back as they stand.
Because he is 19, he's still a junior, correct?
Correct.
So 186, and that is, apologies for not picking that up earlier, that is a new junior European record, because the standard was 181, and he's the first man to go past that. So he is now the European junior record holder in the snatch. That's Christo Kristoff for Bulgaria. Advantage Bulgaria.
Well, there were the couple of kilos that we talked about. The second attempt showed there wasn't a huge amount more, probably the right choice of weight, but just eluded him today. Long extension, could be a little bit faster transitioning under the bar. When you leave it out in front, there's not much you can do.
So Christo Kristoff at the moment in the snatch gold medal position, but as I mentioned, the champion Simon Martirosyan, who has got a magnificent performance record, and here he comes out for 190. The world champion in 2018 and 2019, the European champion 2017 and 2019, and the Olympic silver medalist from Rio 2016. And there's a whole bunch of junior and youth medals that he's collected along the way. He really is a standout performer and has been for Armenia. He's only 24 and he is the defending champion.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's not expected, to be honest. I mean, this is a guy who's got 199, 198. These are sort of regular weights for him. So 190, you would have imagined, would have been relatively straightforward, but it wasn't.
It certainly wasn't. He was nowhere near that attempt. That looked to me like a third attempt, not a first. I'd say he's under pressure already.
There's the man who leads. You saw him momentarily there, Christo Kristoff, 186, very good second attempt to follow a pretty good start as well. Now, Kristoff has put the bar up to, well, he's planning 190 as well, which means that Martirosyan, second attempt, has to come before his third attempt, so Martirosyan has the minimum amount of time, just the 2 minutes in which to recover, to come out and try 190 again. But we're right at the sharp end of this snatch competition.
There's anxiety in those eyes, David.
The field is quite spread out in this men's 100 kilo competition at the moment. So Martirosyan, second time of asking, 190.
No way, he's not getting that.
Well, we've not seen it so many times, but we've seen it enough times during the championships. A man who has failed the first two attempts. Here we go, Michaela.
To be honest, that one, he totally corrected what he'd done on the previous lift. He generated too much height on the bar. The bar came crashing down on top of him. He caught it, the bar impacted him and bent the arm. That's not what you want. Ideally, you want to be meeting the bar at the bottom.
So not only is the defending champion under pressure, he's got this young buck who's put two over his head and has done nothing wrong. And if he lifts 190, boy, is Martirosyan going to be under some pressure. Because as ever, it's the man who gets there first. who has the highest ranking. And in this case, this is the man who's in the gold medal position, and he's trying to maintain it. Third attempt at 190. But he's looked good, Michaela.
He certainly has. Big lift here.
Yeah, new territory. But he had to go for it. Interesting to see what he can do in the second half of the competition. He's mid-range in the opening weights for the clean and jerk.
Just dropped his chest off the floor. You've got to maintain a better position off the floor.
Well, 190 would have been a personal best, but not for this man. So this is to stay alive in the competition, but if he did do it, then he would go straight into the gold medal. And he's pulled it out of the bag.
That man is not happy. Simon Martirosyan representing Armenia. Gold medalist on the snatch, but my goodness me, not a good day in the office.
Well, this didn't go to plan, but he's ended up with 190 kilos, 4 kilos more than Christo Kristoff, the junior, and he's 6 ahead of Timur Naniyev of Russia, who's in 3rd place. So really they are very spread out in this competition. Schumach of the Ukraine on 181. So this is the state of play. Martirosyan saves the day and keeps his defense alive. Kristoff, pretty good. Naniyev, the best for the host country. Schumach moving up to the 109s. Disappointing. You can see 9 kilo deficit. He may have a big clean and jerk, but he's just compromised his opportunity. That means that in a funny sort of sense, as you see the opening weights here for the clean and jerk, you can see what I was alluding to about Schumach, 225. But even if he comes out at 225, because he's 9 kilos behind, you could almost call that sort of 216 because he didn't perform in the first half of the competition.
That's right. On paper, Simon Martirosyan, 230 as an opener. He looks out and out favourite. He is on paper, but he's certainly not in the shape that we've expected to see him over the last few years. So
here's Mikulska down in 6th place. Now, he got all 3 snatches, but only collected 177 kilos, so 13 kilos off the money, so to speak. Good. 219 kilos. Successfully collected there. Mikulska, as I mentioned in the first part of the competition, at 31, one of the most experienced men on the platform this afternoon.
Position overhead, always so good with the poles. I say this time and time again. If you want to copy a lifter, copy the Germans or the Polish team. They move very efficiently.
So here's a former world silver and European gold medalist.
Oh, that's not convincing at all. Drop the elbows.
Strong enough overhead?
Yeah, I think so. Bit of an effort. There was soft elbows, but it will count, I'm pretty sure.
But again, a little bit like the man who preceded him, a long way off the mark after the first half of the competition, 15 kilos down at 175. So
that's right. You can see there just the drop of the elbows as he received the bar. That caused him to lose momentum. Somehow managed to stand. Good leg strength. Elbows, they're all right, just soft.
at the height of his powers, 226 for Plesnik, but like 1 or 2 in this competition, the deficits from the first half are so big, it's really difficult to see them really catching up. Well, that looked a little bit more convincing from the Ukrainian. 220. Originally posted 225, but he's come down to 220 for his opener.
Yeah, there's a bit of a grimace when he had the bar overhead. Let's take a closer look. He yanks it off the floor, really good leg strength. Just fighting there, bar was going forward, shoulders are working overtime to stabilise.
That's the total of 401. When he won the 102 kilo championship a couple of years ago, totaled up 391, so he's already surpassed that total. And now Christo. Also looking for 220. Got 214 on his first jerk.
No lift. Подъем неудачный. 220 again.
Well, he really is pushing himself now. He's, in terms of weights to be lifted on a competition stage, he's really not been here in this territory before now.
Our clean was strong. At this point here, he was just starting to go dizzy. You could tell by his reaction when he came off. He'll be okay, he's strong enough for it. If he can just keep his head clear, he's got a good chance at that weight.
Yeah, he lifted 219 just before lockdown last year in the Malta International Open competition, and totaled up 401. So, yeah, I reckon you're spot on there. I think he's got the ability to do it. Poland doubly represented in the competition, but this man, Arsen Kasebiev, a long way back at the halfway stage, only 170 kilos, 20 kilos down on the leader at halfway. Well, stand still. He's just about made that at 220. And that's given him 390. 3 good clean and jerks. But not to the satisfaction of Erlas Adem, the central referee. Let's have a look at that again, hopefully from the front. Here we go, Michaela.
Bar buckles him at the bottom, loads of movement in the hips and knees. That's not great for the joints. Does well to stand, and this is an ugly jerk. Watch the back foot. Back foot's pointing out. Arms to me look fine. The stagger's okay. The elbows didn't come out of lock.
Ruiz of Spain, lying in 5th place at the halfway stage, bringing forward 180 kilos, so he's 10 kilos behind the defending champion Martyrossian. But that's good. 3 out of 3 in the clean and jerk. 400 total.
That's a fantastic total. And the Spanish contingent very happy with that performance. 5 out of 6 today. And as you said, 3 out of 3 clean and jerks. 220 and a 400 total. That is something could do with a little bit better extension and some more front squats in training. But I think every lifter always feels they can be stronger. It's a great jerk considering how hard the clean was.
And that's a 20 kilo improvement in terms of the total from 2 years ago. So well done. Well, that... Ooh.
Oh, dear.
He's got the lift. Surely.
Yeah, he's got the lift. I didn't see anything that went. Hopefully it's nothing serious.
We'll have a look at the replay. I mean, that's given him a total of 4:06.
Do with seeing this head on, really. No issues there with the clean. Need to see this head on to have any idea. The arms went lovely to a locked position. Not a huge amount of movement overhead. It seemed to be as he released the weight, something went. Can't imagine he would have held it if he'd had a shooting pain overhead. But yeah, it was as it came down. Well, let's hope he's okay. That was his last attempt, wasn't it?
It was indeed 4:06, so he's still very much in the hunt for overall medals. And of course, still in the fight for clean and jerk honors, but there's a few men who can come back, and this is one of them. So Schumach going for 220, no, Naniyev, I beg your pardon. Naniyev going for 223. No, and he's, as a result of that, Naniyev is not going to surpass Kristoff.
The body language says it all, doesn't it? Hugely disappointing. It was a weight that he really wanted. And when you train so hard for this moment, it really is gutting when it doesn't come off. So many months of training, especially those that have been training in isolation.
I can remember seeing this guy in the President's Cup something like 5-6 years ago, and he totaled up 411 kilos, body weight at 105 in those days. But he's not that sort of lifter today. But then how many of the Russians have been?
I think it's great to see. It just shows that, you know, as we say again, more of a level playing field.
Another expensive failure. And Plesnik's really not been in the sort of form we might have expected him to be at. He's got a personal best total of 405 kilos. And he's ending up at 394.
Just tried muscling it up to arm's length, not going to happen.
30-40.
Our winner for 2017, Serena Williams.
Well, the way things are going, Mikhaila, there's a real opportunity for somebody to get control of this competition. Mikulska coming from a long, long way back, but 225 kilos on the bar now. He needs this and quite a bit more if he wants to really pull himself up into medal contention. Well, these are crucial failures.
They certainly are. Some of these lifters are coming out. They just don't seem to be executing. That much is obvious, but there's one or two technical things here. A lot of these guys are trying to muscle the weight overhead, trying to push with the arms. You've got to explode with the legs. They're the powerful muscle groups. You've got to be driving that bar off the shoulders with the big muscle groups. If you try pushing with the arms, you're going to end up pushing against the bar, and it's two forces working in opposition.
You get the sense that this is one of these competitions where Martirosyan, the defending champion, who totaled up 427 kilos, well, the way he's going, he's going to be lucky to get near that today, but it just might be his lucky day because he's got a big clean and jerk, more than 225 he's posted to start with. So the reality is, if he comes out and he gets that, he could, in a sense, still hold on to the title.
He could wipe the floor clean with all of the athletes on his opening attempt, potentially. He's a class lifter, and he's got those kind of numbers behind him. But as we saw in the snatch, you know, you've got to put your lifts on, you've got to make them count. And there's a few lifters here that are not performing to the level they want to. So let's hope now we step up and see one or two bring in their A game.
Well, remember, this is Demetrius Schumach. Now, he's got 401 kilos. That's his running total now. So what he's done is he's put the bar up to 226. So he's looking for 407. Second attempt.
Oh, dear.
Well, that was nothing.
Makes it difficult to commentate on. There's not really a huge amount to say. He went out, he dropped it. There we are, that's my technical analysis. Oh,
well,
right onto his toes. Sorry, as he came off the floor, he was right onto his toes there, and the bar was away from him.
I know it's a new category, but, you know, I'm sure he's absolutely seriously prepared for it. So that is disappointing. He's got one more attempt. Kristoff is finished. He's on 406 at the moment.
He doesn't look comfortable. He's definitely hurt himself in some way, and hopefully just a muscle spasm, nothing else. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but he's holding on, isn't he? While also all these people fail. I mean, obviously Martirosyan hasn't started, but it's Kristoff thinking, my goodness, if they all keep failing, I might end up with the gold medal.
It's a funny place to be in the warm-up room. You're finished, and all you can do is watch and wait. Oh, no way. Arm bent. He's had it.
Неудачный подъем.
So Mikulska, and you look at that, that is 4 out of 6. He got the 3 snatches, but not with enough kilos, and he hasn't been able to make up ground
This one was unlucky though, look at that, he had it. It was the recovery. Moving the feet, just jarred the elbow out of lock. And there it is, big press out with the right arm. He'll be gutted about that one. The coach won't have been able to tell from the side.
Był docisk? No czułem troszeczkę No właśnie, ale widzisz, no.
Well, this is Dimitri Schumach for the Ukraine. He went for 226, he's going for 226 again. Now, this extra amount of kilos, the 6 extra kilos, will put him 1 kilo ahead of Christo Kristoff and will take him into the overall gold medal position. First in the clean and jerk and the overall gold. That is much better. And he's able to complete, and he's got into the lead.
Left arm.
Right. You 2-1. And that's light on there from the left referee.
Yeah, we need to see head on, but I thought his left arm, so it would be our right as we look at it. I thought there was movement in the elbow, but this angle doesn't tell us anything. Nonetheless, he's got it to arm's length. Referees are or 2 of the referees are satisfied. That's all that matters.
Yeah, even on that rather unhelpful overhead replay, I saw what you were getting at, Michaela. But he's got the 407 and he leads the competition, and here comes the defending champion. Well, he got 190, and if he picks up this 227 bar and weights, he's going to be the champion again. Well, he's one of the very few Armenians we've seen all week who doesn't seem in tip-top condition.
He's still in good humour. He's smiling about that miss, as if to say, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Well, nobody comes onto the platform and misses intentionally, but this was all in front. Big push with the arm, pushed himself away from the bar. Body was never underneath the bar. We really need a side replay to show the body position in terms of where he was in relation to the bar. But he's the tough thing now is that was an opportunity to take the title on his first lift. Now he's got to come out again. Maybe he didn't plan to do a second lift. He's now following himself, and that's tough to recover from.
There is the silver medalist. And you just saw momentarily Schumach, who is the gold medalist at the moment. So Schumach's got 407, Kristoff has got 406, and Ruiz has got, he's in the bronze medal position in the clean and jerk. Naniyev has got 401 and is in the overall bronze for Russia. But of course, Naniyev is the one who's most likely to get dismissed. And Ruiz is most likely to lose his clean and jerk medal if this man lifts up either this second attempt or the third attempt.
Well, David, you would expect him to get it. You know, this is technically a first attempt, but he wasn't overly impressive on the snatch. 2 failures, nailed it on the third. Clean and jerk is a slightly different ball game. When you're following yourself, you can see right now he's still out of breath, but he's still smiling. He's in good spirits.
So Martirosyan, 227. Just to give you an idea of what he can do, he won the World Championships 2 years ago and lifted 230. At the European Under-23 Championships 2 years ago, 236. In the 2018 World Championships at 109 kilos, he actually clean and jerked 240 kilos. But he's clearly not in that sort of form, but can he lift 227? If he does it, he wins and he holds on to the title. So here we go. Second attempt.
Oh dear.
Well, what was that about?
I think I need to see from the side, but I think the weight had pulled him onto his toes. He didn't maintain the discipline off the floor. And if you're on your toes, it's very hard to recover. I did think on his first attempt there wasn't much explosive leg drive, but this angle doesn't tell us much. I need to see where the bar is over his base of support. By base, yeah, look at that, the bar's way away from him as it passes the knees. So there's a lot of nervous lifters backstage watching on anxiously just to see where they're going to finish, and one or two that are still in the medal positions. Wow, they're going to be, well, I guess keeping fingers crossed that there's another failure. Martirosyan now under some serious pressure, David.
Well, I bet these guys like Schumach here didn't think they'd be in the position they're in now. He's leading the competition. He had that very, very modest first part, just 1 out of 3, 181 kilos, 9 kilos behind Martirosyan. And all Martirosyan's really got to do is to pick up. Well, I say all he has, but he's had 2 attempts, and he's been nowhere near on either.
But David, look at this now. He's on the floor. What's he on the floor for? Something's not right here. You don't do that in between lifts. You don't want to have your change in blood pressure from being on the floor to standing up. That's a silly move. And I can't imagine for 1 minute he was dizzy after that last attempt, because he didn't do anything with it.
So I am assuming that your thinking is that he ain't going to make this.
I just don't understand that preparation between lifts. I might be missing something. I mean, you know, I'm not there. I'm not in, but it just seems crazy to have a lifter lie down.
If he makes it, he holds on to the championship. If he doesn't, Dimitri Schumach is the champion of 109 kilos. Oh, dear.
No.
No. He's bombed out. 3 failures in the clean and jerk. No total. Schumach of Ukraine has got the gold. The silver overall goes to Christo Kristoff of Bulgaria, and the bronze to Timur Naniyev of Russia.
Well, this is really disappointing. That clean was way harder than it should have been. And the drive, hips behind the bar, staggered sideways, just couldn't recover. What a disappointment. What an upset.
Well, it's 6 years since he last bombed out. And that was in the junior worlds, but Dimitri Schumach, the European champion 2 years ago at 102 kilos, is now the champion at 109. But what is interesting, and it says something about the competition, is that Schumach wins. Here you've got the clean and jerk results. But 2 years ago, Martirosyan won the title with 427. Andrei Adamnov of Belarus got the silver with 411. And Rodion Botchov of Russia got the bronze with 410. And the winner there would have been beaten by last year's bronze medalist. So perhaps that puts the whole thing into context.
Yeah, standard clearly down, but you know, there may be other reasons for that. The increased drug testing and sanctions being placed upon these countries and lifters. Let's hope this is a cleaner competition.